Welcome back, race fans, to another episode of Off the Track where you get the dirt. I'm Levi, Ray Godsey, and we are here at Blue Chip Technologies Racing Engines. We are a high-performance race engine shop located right here in Heltonville, Indiana. And today we've got joining us on the show Ray Godsey Junior, my father, and you could also say he goes by Denzel Ray Godsey.
Yep.
So appreciate you taking the time out of your evening to sit down and talk some racing.
Yeah, well, thanks for the invite.
We've had Grandpa in,
Yeah.
Uncle D, also known as Edgar.
Yeah. I just call him David.
David. Some people call him David.
That's all I've known him all my life, was David. Whenever he come home from the hospital, he was David.
There you go. Well, we've been kind of anxious to get some Gotseys in here. I believe this is our 15th episode, and you make the third Godsey to join the show.
Well, I guess that's better than being the last one.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the last. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. But we do have expectations of getting some other ones on here. There's several that race.
Yeah.
And have over the years. But just wanted you to take us a trip down memory lane, how you got your start.
Yeah, well, of course, most people know that Dad was a late model icon, you know, and I think he started driving when I was 2 years old. So yeah. I've been around it my whole life. That's all I've known is racing. And I always wanted to race, you know, of course, you know, but never had the opportunity until later in life. You know, I think I was 29 years old before I ever got the chance to drive. But all them years before that, I just, you know, work on Dad's race cars and stuff, you know.
Yeah, that's all you boys knew.
That was it. He would like he'd go to Australia in the wintertime when it's winter here.
Right.
Summer over there, we'd build a car. We'd either go up to Rayburn's or wherever whatever chassis he was running that year. That's where we'd go. And we'd build him a new car, and he'd get back and take off and head to Florida.
Yeah, start the season off here in the States.
Yep.
Well, growing up with Tony, David, Steven, I mean, you guys were Grandpa's pit crew.
You're right. Yeah, it was like six pack, only minus a couple.
Right. And I know he leaned on you hard to make sure that his cars were up front.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was like, you know, when we get to the track, you better have your mindset on racing. There wasn't no playing around, no joking.
Yeah.
We was here to race, let's race. That's just the way it was.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should have been, you know.
He was that way as I was growing up also.
Right.
There wasn't no radio on in the truck on the way to the track.
No, he can't stand the radio. I mean, even now, if you're driving down the road and you turn your radio on, he'll reach over and shut it off because he don't like listening to the radio while he's going down the. I don't think he ever listens to the radio.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I've ever seen him listen to a radio or.
No, even if you got it on in the garage.
Yeah.
And he comes in.
Oh yeah.
Shut that darn thing off.
That's the first thing I would do.
Yeah.
You got Metallica or something playing in the background. You see Grandpa's car rolling in, you better just shut it down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was more like Randy Travis and George Jones kind of guy.
There you go. Well, you guys would travel all over, everywhere, and race as many nights that were on the schedule. I mean,
yeah, I mean, we usually, you know, it wasn't nothing to leave on a Wednesday morning and drive wherever and race Thursday night or Friday night. And then we'd go somewhere and race Saturday night. And we'd go somewhere and run Sunday night. We may not be home till Monday night or Tuesday.
Right.
And then we'd have to get everything unloaded, get the car ready, and take off and go again.
Yeah, full-time job.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
I was actually, I mean, I got married in 79 and I actually worked on this full-time crew until like 85,
Right.
before I ever went and there was a few jobs here and there that I had, but he basically paid me to work.
Care of the car.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it better be right when he gets to the track,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He done well, and you guys, as far as yourself and your brothers, all got started at different ages.
Yeah.
But I was always thinking that I was under the impression that you got started in your 30s. Like 33 was what I had in my head.
Well, I can't remember nothing really, so I had to write stuff down, but it was after I went back and started looking at pictures and stuff, I started the very first race I ran in. David was actually driving for Brad Enders, and there was an enduro at Brownstown.
Yeah.
Well, David didn't want to race in it, so I told Brad, I said, "Man, I'd like to have a shot at that." He said, "Well, I want to take the car." He said, "So that's fine with me." So, I adjusted the seat and everything in it, and so we take off, go over to Brownstown, and I asked him before the race started. I said, "Now, well, this thing, I think it was like 200 or 300 laps. It was a big race. Back then they used to run.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
I was picturing 100.
It may have been, but it was. I don't know. I can't remember.
It's been a long time ago.
Yeah. So anyway, I asked Brad. I said, "Now, are you sure that fuel cell is big enough that we can make this whole race?" He goes, "Oh yeah." He said, "I did the calculation."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay." I was ready to go. So
yeah,
we get out there and I don't know. They line you up like 5 across the track, and you don't have a pace lap. They drop the green and you go.
Mm-hmm.
So we lined up 5, and there was probably, I bet there was 80 to 100 cars in the race.
Right.
So they drop the green. I take off. I'm thinking I'm doing pretty good, and some guy spun. He caught the right front of the car, and it tore the right front fender and the door.
Mm-hmm.
Completely off the car, and I thought, "Oh my gosh, I've totaled this car. Brad's gonna kill me."
Mm-hmm.
But I kept going because it still had 4 tires aired up, and I just kept driving.
Right.
Well, so I don't know. It's probably halfway through the race or whatever. I could feel it starting to run out of fuel. So I ran off the track, and I just barely made it, to the. And I'm hollering at Brad. I said, "Put some fuel in this thing,"
Right.
He said, "Well, look what you've done." I said, "Put some fuel in it." I said, "Don't worry about the car. I'll fix it."
Right.
So they dumped fuel in, and I went back out there, and I had a ball. That was a blast for me,
Right.
because I never got to drive before,
Yeah.
So
well, that's neat that I'm finally hearing that your first race was actually an enduro, because
that was yours.
you repaid that favor to me.
Right.
I was 12 years old, and you threw me in that one.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it.
Right.
I mean, that was I only made like 13 laps.
Yeah. Right.
But 12 years old,
Yeah.
in a full-size car,
Yeah.
I was having a blast.
Yeah.
I can still remember exactly where it happened, what happened, how I exited the track.
Right. And you did exactly what I told you to do.
Yeah.
I said, if you get in a situation where you're facing the traffic or whatever, I said, they don't have yellow flags.
Mm-hmm.
The only time they throw a red flag is if the driver's door is facing or if somebody flips.
Yep.
If you're facing the traffic, they'll stop the race. So I told you, I said, hey, if you're facing the traffic, throw that son of a gun in reverse and just keep going, and do whatever you got to do. And that's exactly what you did.
Yeah, it worked out.
And you was having a ball, but I wasn't, because I was over in the pits with your mom.
She was tore up.
Oh, man, she was yelling at me, "You get him off that track." I said, "He's fine. Get him out." She said, "I'm going to go get the sheriff."
Right.
Because she seen the sheriff standing there. She said, I said, "Leave that boy alone. Let him drive."
Right. Yeah, because then It was still, that age.
Yeah.
It really wasn't supposed to be.
Right, and we didn't tell them you was driving the car.
Yeah.
You know, we put the word diesel
Yeah, I remember.
on top of the car to make them, so they wouldn't know who it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but then you got your bumper tore off and you come in the pits and, man, I'm out there trying to get that bumper off and she's yelling, you get him out of that car, get him out of the car. I said, leave him alone. I'm pulling on the bumper, but we couldn't get it off, so that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so you guys get done with the race.
Yeah.
At that point, you're hooked.
Oh yeah.
Already.
Yeah. It's like, once you do it, it's like, dang, so it worked out good for me because Brad decided he was going to build 2 cars the next year and put me in one and let David drive one. Mm-hmm. So that's what we did. We had team cars.
Was that the 7 and 14 car?
No, that was I had 14 and David had number 16.
Okay.
They were blue and white.
Yeah.
Brad fielded both cars that year, and
yeah,
I got Rookie of the Year at Bloomington Speedway, and I think I ran second in the points that year. I don't know how many times we went to Brownstown or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, we had a good time, and Brad was happy, and I was having a ball. You know.
And anybody that knows Brad Enders knows that he's just kind of a happy-go-lucky.
Oh yeah,
laughing, smiling, joking kind of guy.
I got something right here.
Yeah.
That right there is off of that car.
Wow.
That's the first car that I raced.
Where did you find this?
I had it in my garage.
That is cool.
So look, you can see it cut off with a torch.
Yeah. Yeah, the heat.
Yeah. So I wanted to keep
that's cool.
The top off of the very first car I raced.
There you go.
That was it right there.
And we all know whose riding that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Trent Nichols.
Yes, Trent Nichols.
I don't know if I'd set that up there or not.
Yeah. But anyway, I thought that was kind of neat.
That is cool.
Digging around in the garage,
You was just cleaning it out just a couple weeks ago. So that's probably when you came across it.
Exactly. Yeah.
There you go.
So, that year we ran second in points at Bloomington. Got Rookie of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
The next year, I'll have to look at my notes because I had to write this stuff down. I couldn't remember everything.
Mm-hmm.
So in '91, I don't know why David chose not to drive for Brad, but he did. So that's when we got the number 7 and the 14 car.
Yep. White and green, auto heaven on them.
Right.
Chuck was always good about.
Chuck Forney, he took care of me and, got me whatever kind of car I wanted.
Oh, yeah.
He'd take care of me. If I needed any kind of parts, Chuck took care of me.
Yep.
I used to work for Chuck a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Me and him were good buddies, so he helped me out.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
Even today, I can text him or call him.
Oh, yeah.
And he'll find, it don't matter if it's an old Ford pickup truck rim or you need it, you call him, he'll take care of it.
We always told him all them years that, like, you needed a Holly intake, cast iron intake or whatever. Oh, I don't know. I'd say, Chuck, look under your bed because I know that's where all your good stuff is.
Right.
He always kept all that good stuff under his bed.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. So that year, the number 7 car was like a 69 Chevelle model. Mm-hmm. And the 14 car was like a 73 Chevelle or 77, something like that.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Well,
Bull knew her body style.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, the 69 car was a lot lighter. Back then, they didn't have no scales like at Martin County or, So, on the 7 car, we just had a 350 small block Chevy in it. And in the 14 car, we had a 400 small block Chevy. The 14 car was a lot faster. I would drive it like at Bloomington on Friday nights. Mm-hmm. And then on Saturday, if both cars was still, able to run.
Capable of going.
Right. We would take both cars to Martin County.
Yeah.
But I got to winning some races over there, that word on the street, so to speak, they was going to claim my engine.
Yeah.
So I told Brad, I said, well, I'll just drive the 7 car, and if they want to claim the engine, that's not a big
claim it.
Right.
Yeah.
You drive the 14 car.
Yeah.
So that's what we started doing, Well, and then people in Martin County, they didn't like me. I don't know. I think it's because, back in the day, Dad won a lot of races there.
Right. People get tired of seeing the same person win.
Well, it even got to, Dad had this guy named Jack Inman that was Dad's crew chief for years.
Right.
Well, Jack wanted to drive too, so he had a car. Dad called them hobby stockers then. And Jack would drive that, and he ran good over there, It was like something about that track that we was all connected, it just ran good there.
Yeah.
Well, they got to where they was not liking me over there, of course, and they throw stuff in the grandstands and everything, you get on the front stretch to get out of the car, get your picture taken. Well,
yeah, you didn't know what to expect at that place.
But I turned it around on them. See, what happened was, these little kids come running down to the fence, so I started giving them my trophies. Well, when I did that, it was like, I didn't hear no crap from anybody anymore, and I'm thinking, man, I got something going on here, I'll just give these little kids the trophies, and that's what it's all about anyway, the fans,
Right.
There's fans out there that are dedicated to certain drivers. That's like, whenever AB and won the sponsor, they was like, like one of my number one fans,
Oh, yeah.
And
good people.
Yeah, they would invite me. They'd say, hey, if you get your car done early enough, come to the track. We're going to have hot dogs, hamburgers, we'll cook for you. Just real good people, you know what I mean? Just,
yeah, they are.
Yeah. And one that's passed away now, but AB's still hanging in there. He's a good fella. But anyway, getting back to that Martin County Speedway, I ended up, I got to look at my notes. I won the championship that year, 91. I started out in the 14 car, ended up in the 7 car, but we still ended up winning the point championship, And I couldn't have done it without, Brad. He was just one of them guys that
really enjoyed going.
He loved it, and one night over there, I'm pretty sure that he beat me in the 14 car, and I ran second in 7 car.
Yeah.
And then we got our picture taken on the front stretch, but I can't remember if I put my car up in front of his to make it look like I won or what. But
that might have been what happened with me and you that one night.
Right? Yeah.
There were nights that you won, I ran second, or I'd get one and you'd run second.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
You never really knew for sure which one won, but it didn't matter.
Right.
We're right there.
1 or 2. Yeah. So then, in 1992, I was still driving for Brad, and we decided we was going to venture up to Paragon and try to get the championship up there. So we ran up there all year long, and I won the point championship in 92 up there. And I remember it well because that same year, Bob Kinser won the sprint car championship, and Lee Hobbs won the street stock championship. But reason why I enjoyed winning so much with Bob and Lee was because Bob, I can remember whenever I first started driving.
Yeah.
Well, even before that, I don't know, I was probably, maybe 16 years old, and I was taking vocational tech. Well, Dad wanted to build a garage back behind the house, and it was a block garage. Well, I was kind of getting into laying block, but I didn't really know what I was doing yet. And Bob was a block layer. So Dad calls Bob. He come down.
Yeah.
And he squared it all off for me and started laying the corners for me, you know. And then he got the corners all set for me. He said, now, boy, all you got to do is run you a string from that one to that one, lay them blocks straight and you'll be just fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I did, and it turned out good. I think Tony helped me on it too, you know.
Yeah.
But it was just cool, you know, working with Bob Kinser. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So then we're at, a few years later, I guess it'd be like almost 15 years later, we're at Bloomington Speedway, and I got a race car, you know, driving for Brad. And I can't even remember what uniform I had on, but it wasn't much.
Mm-hmm.
And we was like standing in the driver.
Paper thin.
Yeah.
Just
right.
Not what they are today.
Right.
Especially.
So I'm it's a driver's meeting, you know, because back then everybody, you know, all the cars were together at the driver's meeting.
Right.
Well, Bob come up to me and he said, "Hey," he said, "won't you stop by my house one night this week?" He said, I got something for you. I said, all right. So I showed up at his house and he gave me a uniform that he had wore like the year before or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm a big guy. Bob was a big guy.
Yeah.
So he knew it'd fit me, you know. And he said, "You think it'll fit you?" I said, "I can guarantee it'll fit me, Bob, but I don't care. You know, I'll get in there."
Right.
You know. You know, most guys, they'll put tape or whatever over it. Not me. I was walking around like Bob Kinser, you know. Yeah, Bob, yeah. You know, but yeah, he was just...
He was looking out for you.
He was awesome, Bob, yeah. He was cool.
I know that you always really looked up to him as far as all that.
Right. I mean, Dad was number 14, so, you know, I fell in, but a lot of it was because of Bob. You know, Bob ran number 14.
Right.
And, you know, it was perfect for me.
Yeah. I feel like did Randy run 14 at some point?
I think he did, yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Randy did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't remember what year it was, but yeah, he runs sprint cars at Bloomington.
I felt like he ran the 14. Of course, Mark was 5. And Steve. 11.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
But so now we're in 92. Early 90s. You're still running for Brad Hendricks.
Yeah. So Brad, you know, we win the point deal at Paragon, you know, and the season's almost over. Well, I hear about this Halloween 200 down at Salem International Speedway, the asphalt track, you know, and I've always wanted to do it.
Yeah.
So I throw a bug in Brad's ear, and he, I don't know. I said, I'd really like to try that. Mm-hmm. He said, well, if you want to do it, we'll go down there and do it, you know. So I talked to a few guys, figured out what I need to do with springs. I talked to Dad about it. Mm-hmm. Dad said, stay away from that track. I said, I really want to. He said, you'll get killed, Dave. Stay away from that track. I said, Dad, I really want to do this, and I'm going to do it.
I'm going
to.
Yeah.
You know, of course, your mom, she was throwing a fit about it and everything, but I just wanted to do it, you know, because I don't know. So anyway, I figured out what springs, and we only had like a week to get the car ready. We had to put a piece of plexiglass over the windshield, you know, to make it look like it had a windshield in it. Yeah. I don't think I had to, but I wanted to.
Right.
Of course, you know, it's a dirt car, no mirrors. I don't, you know, we didn't run mirrors, so I didn't put no mirror in the car. Mm-hmm. We get down there, and they let us practice. So I thought, okay, let's go out and practice, you know. So I get out there, you know, and I'm thinking, man, this is awesome, you know. And I'm flying down. I mean, this is as fast as I've ever been in a race car.
Right.
So I'm driving down through there, you know, and I'm thinking, dang, I'm close to that wall, you know, just going down the back stretch. About that time, there's about 4 guys. I thought, dang, them guys are crazy. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, I thought I was up as high as I needed to be. Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, heck, if they can do it, I can do it. So I started to move up her a little bit, no mirrors. Well, there was a guy on the right rear of me, and I caught him because, you know, I hit my right rear on his left front.
Right.
I don't think he had time to back, you know.
Yeah.
Turned me into the wall, and I spun out, went down, hit the inside. I scuffed the inside wall, blew the left front tire out. So I make it back to the pits. I get out of the car. I tell Brad, I said, look, we can load this car and take it home. I said, I've already had a good time. I said, I love this thing. He said, we come to race, we're going to race. I said, all right, let's do it, So they start the race, and I can't even remember where I started, but there was at least over 100, 120 cars in the race.
Wow.
I mean, it was cool.
I bet.
And they started the race, well, at the first part of the race, I knew who the faster guys were, because they was like, I mean, when they drop the green and you got that many cars, you can't keep up with them dudes because, by the time they're hitting the back of the last guy that's taking off couldn't take off before the leader passed him, because we was all sitting still.
Right.
So they lapped me. Well, I don't know how many laps into the race it was, but here they come again, and them guys were like getting in a line. There was about 5 or 6 of them getting in a line, and they was like a snake going around there. Them guys were flying, and I'm thinking, man, these guys ran here all the time. They run together.
Yeah.
So anyway, two of the hot dogs got together. I think the guy's name was Gettlefinger, and I think he actually ran the track. But he ended up on top. He flipped his car on top of another guy, and they both went through turn wall. They went through the wall.
Yeah.
They had to red flag the race.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to get their equipment out there and set up those highway dividers,
Right.
So we was sitting there, I was down there in turn 3 and 4, and I pulled down at the bottom of the track and just sat there because, man, you couldn't sit. That track's banked like 30 degrees or something. You couldn't just sit there. You had to pull down. So I pulled down there and I stopped. I get out of the car. I'm looking at it. You wasn't allowed to do anything with it, because red flag.
Yeah.
Well, I'm standing there, and I'm thinking, okay. Well, this guy comes walking up to me. He said, well, what do you think? I said, well, it was Paul Crockett.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys that raced with Dad for years. He's like, he's like one of Dad's rivals, And Paul Crockett comes up to me.
Yeah.
He said, what do you think? I said, well, I love this, I said, but I don't know how I'm doing. He goes, oh, you're doing good. He said, just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing fine.
Yeah.
I said, well, all right. It's pretty cool to listen to the guy that, actually knows something about racing,
Right.
So we get going, of course, we had to make pit stops and stuff, for fuel and whatnot. Well, so later on in the race, these guys were lapping me. I was passing them. I thought, man, there's something wrong with these guys, but I just got faster. They didn't slow down. I just got faster. Once I learned that when you go down into 1 and 2, you don't get up against them. We stay about halfway, in the middle of the track, but down 3 and 4, get plumb up against the wall. And I got it figured out. Well, when you come off of turn 4, it's got a little dip in the track. Well, there was probably 2 laps to go in the race, and the guy that was running second, he come around and was lapping me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I seen him come underneath me, and of course, I ain't got no mirror, so I didn't see him coming.
Yeah.
And when he come around, so I backed off a little bit, let him drift up in front of me. We're going down the front stretch. I don't know, probably 120. I don't know, really.
Yeah. Felt like 150.
It felt like 200 mile an hour.
Yeah.
So he gets up in front of me, and all of a sudden I seen sparks and stuff, and I seen his car doing this. Mm-hmm. Oh, son. That guy blowed his motor, and I got in that oil, went down into the turn. There wasn't nothing I could do.
Yeah.
It was like driving on ice. I hit the outside wall, which was those
dividers.
The highway dividers they put up. I hit those and ended up spinning around. I hit the outside wall twice and come down across the track and hit the inside wall. I mean, I was okay, but now my car wasn't.
And neither was the car owner.
No. The right front tire, I hit the wall so hard that the right front suspension and everything was like right beside my seat.
Uh-huh.
Now, what you got to realize is on the dirt, back in the day, when you're running the bomber, they would not let you run bars from the cage forward through the firewall into the front end.
Right.
Well, those guys that run down there,
They had that.
Yeah. I didn't even, it didn't even dawn on me that, that I could hit a wall that hard with this car, and I'm glad I hit it with the right front instead of the left front, because it would have been right in my lap. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I climbed out of the car, jumped over the wall, and of course,
Did like a Ricky Bobby roll.
Yeah, I was hollering for Oprah and everything, Yeah, I'm on fire, But no, I went down in the pits. Brad said, "You okay?" I said, "Yeah, I am, but the car ain't good." He goes, "Yeah, I see that." Of course, by then the race was over, Well, they had to get a backhoe and load the car up on the trailer so that we could just take it home with us, There wasn't nothing left of it but the engine and the transmission. Yeah, it bent everything. It was
destroyed.
It was destroyed. So I think that right there kind of ended Brad's run with, I can't remember if I drove for him after that or not, but between 93, I think I actually started driving for David in 93. Mm-hmm. He had that, he had a real good looking, sharp looking car.
It was like maroon, gold number 4, I think.
No, I think it was 4. I don't know. I can't remember.
Either ways, I know what one. It was the long window Chevelle.
Yeah. So
good sharp car.
We won some races with it, but I didn't win any championships or anything that year. Mm-hmm. And I think it was right around 94. I was driving through town and I seen this real good looking car sitting at this car lot. Mm-hmm. So I pulled in there. I mean, it was a race car.
Right.
I pulled in there, man, it's a sharp looking car, and I pulled in there and them guys were out there shining on it and everything, Mm-hmm. And so I get to talking to them, and it's Colby Southern.
Yeah.
And it's a S&S Auto Sales. So I'm talking to him, and I said, "Who drives this car?" He said, "Well, my brother-in-law drives it, but he said, my sister don't like it." Mm-hmm. And he said she don't want him driving it. I said, if you need a driver, I said, I'd be interested in,
trying to work with it.
Well, at least try to get your car set up to where, it'll handle good enough for you, for whoever you put in the car. He said, he said, "That sounds like a good idea." He said, "Why don't we just take it to Brownstown this weekend and, and you can see what you think about it."
Sure.
So we did. I got the car over there and went out there to hot lap, no brakes. So I come in and I tried to get brakes on the car, but I bled them. I tried everything but I couldn't get brakes on the car. So I told him, I said, "Hey, this thing ain't got no brakes on." He said, "Well, would you drive it anyway?" I said, "Well, yeah." He said, "Well, then drive it." Okay. So I get out there, and I can't even remember where I finished, in the feature.
Yeah.
But we ran good.
It was a good night.
Yeah. And I come in, and he said, "Well, what do you think?" I said, "Well, it's a good, strong car." I said, "But it needs brakes." Mm-hmm. He goes, "Well, I don't think you need any." I said, "Well, you just never know when you're going to need them." And he goes, "Oh," he said, he said, "Man, that car was fast." He said, "You did a good job." I said, "Well, you need it." He said, "What do you think about, going ahead and trying to get it ready for next week, and we'll get brakes on the car and whatever, And he said, "Would you be interested?" I said, "Yeah." So we, got brakes on the car and went back the next week and had another good night. And so that night I get out of the car and he said, "What would you charge me to drive the car?" I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, how much of the take would you want if, whatever money we make?" I said, "Well, I've never took any money for driving a car before." I said, "I just love to drive."
Right.
He said, "Well, so would you be interested in driving this car?" I said, "Well, yeah." I said, I'd love to drive the car, Mm-hmm. He goes, "Well, okay. He said, so
We'll put money back in the tires.
he
fuel.
said, yeah. He said, well, then you'll be my driver if you want. I said, yeah. I said, can I take it home with me? He said, oh, I don't know. I said, well, if I got it at home, I said, you know, I can work on it whenever I need to, get home from work, you know, keep the car up, you know. He said, yeah, I guess that'd be all right. He said, just go ahead and take it up to your house. So I did, you know. I told him I wanted to do a few things. He said, well, now just, you know, don't change too much on it. Well, so I get to looking at it, you know, and it didn't have racing springs in it or, you know, nothing like that. Right. So I called the car lot, and Colby's dad answered the phone. Mm-hmm. You know, I called him Flash, but his name was Lowell. Right. I said, hey, Lowell, I said, is Colby around? Nope.
I'm sure he had a cigar in his hand.
Oh, yeah.
He said it.
Yeah.
Nope.
I said, well, there's a few things I'd like to change. He said, do whatever you want with that car. I said, now, wait a minute. I don't want to get in trouble. He said, you ain't going to get in trouble. He said, if you think that you can make that car better than what it is, then you do it.
Yeah.
I said, well, I need to talk to Colby. Nope. He said, if Colby has a problem with it.
I'm giving you permission.
Yeah, if Colby has a problem with it, he can deal with me. I said, okay. So, of course, I did my thing to, you know, put spring. Well, we get to the track the next week, and, you know, I unload the car, and Colby showed up, and he goes, my gosh, what'd you do to that car? I said, well, I lowered it. You know, I lowered it like 2 or 3 inches all the way around, you know, and put shocks and springs and stuff in it, you know. He goes, oh, my gosh. He said, that car sits way too low. I said, let me see what it does, you know. So we went out and had a good night. And he said, you know what? He goes, let's take the car to Paragon next week. I said, I'm fine with that. So we go up to Paragon, and Lowell was with us, and Colby, and I don't know if his wife Carol was with us that night or not, but
she used to go quite a bit.
Yeah. But anyway, went out there. I think we won the heat, and man, they was excited about that. You know, that's the first time they'd ever won anything. You know,
got to win.
Yeah, and they was all excited. You know, and I'm thinking, son, I ain't even. You know, I'm thinking about the feature right now. Heat races don't mean anything to me. You know, I want to win the feature. You know,
yeah.
But they was excited. You know, so I think we started on the front row, but we ended up winning the feature that night. And I mean, them people were. It was like
you just won Daytona 500.
Yeah, of course I was excited because anytime you win, you just you know. So that was a good deal. You know, we won for them. So. That was their first race that they'd ever won with that team. So we did good, you know, had a good time. We ended up, I ended up driving for him.
I feel like it was 10 or 11 years.
I think it was 2000, 2001, maybe whenever. I don't remember. But I do know.
Probably 2000.
But I do know that.
Well, then.
In 97.
Right.
In 97, we won the point championship at Brownstown with that car. That was back when they started coming out with these darn metric cars, you know.
Right.
And
the whole game changed.
Oh gosh, yeah. But I still ended up.
Yeah.
In '98, I still won the point championship that year with that car. And
that car, it was wore.
Oh yeah,
wore out.
Yes, it was.
And you were running against guys like Matt Bex, Bubba Woods.
Yeah. Speaking of them guys, but anyway, so in '98 we won the track championship again. Plus, we also got awarded the Lee Fleetwood Sportsmanship Award, and that meant more to me than the track. You know, because I didn't have any idea. You know, and Lee, you know, he used to race against Dad. You know, and so it meant a lot to me. You know, to win that award.
Well, yeah.
But speaking of Bex and and Bubba, yeah, when they started running their metric cars, they would come over. I didn't really know them, you know, but Beck said that he tried to talk to me one night at the track, you know, and I don't know what I was doing, but he said that I was rude to him or something. I said, I'm not rude to anybody, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I said, unless they rub me wrong, you know. I said, you know, if we're on the track and you do something to me.
Yeah, treat me a little dirty.
Yeah. I mean, I'll drive a guy clean as long as he drives me clean, but if he don't, then I won't. But anyway, so they started hanging out with me, you know, coming up to the shop and everything, you know, at the garage. And you know, I'd go in the house or something, come back outside, and both of them be laying underneath my car, you know, like looking at it. I said, well, get out of there. What you got to do? We're just getting some ideas. Oh, wait a minute. I just fell down. I dropped a coin or something, you know.
Oh, yeah.
It always ended up under my car. So anyway, you know, they was racing those metric cars, and you know, we'd always get to the track early, you know, and have cookouts and stuff, you know.
A lot of good memories with them guys.
One night, Beck said, hey, we ought to line our cars up over here, you know, and get our pictures taken before everybody gets here. That way we got room, you know. Oh, okay. So, you know, that poor car of mine it just looked so beat up, you know. I mean, compared to their car, you know. Right. So me and Bubba Woods and Glenn Beck, or Glenn was there.
Yeah. Bubba's brother.
Yeah, Glenn Woods,
Woods.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but Matt Becks and, of course, Jeff Becks was there, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So we lined our cars up, you know, and so I'm looking around for Becks. I'm thinking, where's that guy at? I thought we was going to get our picture taken. Here he comes from his rig. He's carrying like a handful of, you know, a whole arm full of trophies, you know, and he's setting them up there on his car. I said, I didn't know this was trophy night, you know. Yeah. I just thought we'd get our picture taken. Oh, that ain't no big thing, you know. I said, yeah, I know what you're doing. But they was always fun to hang out with, you know, and race against, because you could race against any of them, and they was clean drivers. I mean, I don't care to get beat by a guy that's racing me clean. Mm-hmm. But now it got to the point where I was getting outrun because of my equipment, you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, Colby didn't want to build a new car, and I could understand that, you know?
Yeah.
And
you guys had fun for many years.
Yes.
And you guys won a lot of races, track championships.
Yeah.
And it was getting to where I'm sure he just didn't want to make that kind of investment.
Right. Yeah.
Completely understandable.
Oh, yeah. You know, and Corey was starting to race too, you know, so, you know, he was spending more time with Corey, and you know, it's hard to field two cars. You know, it's hard to field one car.
That's right.
You get two cars involved, you know, and it's a hard deal. But so anyway, talking about running guys clean and whatnot. A couple years ago, this is when you was running your super stock. You was running Jeff. His son drives a 6 car.
Oh yeah, you're talking about the.
I can't remember.
You put me on the spot.
Yeah,
Jeff Helton.
Helton, yes. So Jeff Helton comes up to me, and
heck of an awesome guy.
Oh yeah, but man, when I first started racing,
you guys used to have some battles.
Oh gosh, I mean, like every other week we was taking one or the other out, you know. Yep. And so Jeff comes up to me a couple of years ago whenever he was running his super stock against his boy, you know, and he said, hey, he goes, you remember how me and you? I said, oh yeah. I said, we used to be at each other every week. He goes, you know what? He said, you know what changed all that? He said, do you remember? I said, no. He said, I went to Bloomington one night and broke an axle in my car. Mm-hmm. He said, I had to load the car up, and he said, I was done for the night. And he said, you actually come over to me and said, hey, I got an axle over there you can use if you need an axle to get that car going.
Right.
I said, no, I don't remember that. He goes, but you did. He said, man, I thought that was straight up, you know. He said, that was cool, you know. He said, that changed everything, all my thoughts about you, you know. And I said, look, Jeff, you know, I don't know who started the rival. I don't know if I got into you or you got into, but I said, I always race everybody however they race me. I said, if you get into me, I'm gonna get into you. That's just how I was, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It may not have been right, but that's just how I did it. So he goes, yeah, it was pretty cool. He goes, you know, after that, me and you got along real good. And he said, I enjoyed racing with you. I said, well, I'm glad you come talk to me, you know.
Right.
But yeah, that's crazy. The stuff we used to get into.
Well, yeah. Well, there was, several other guys you ran against back
Oh man,
back in them days that I felt like, any given one of you could have won.
Yeah, my main.
You had a lot of great drivers. I mean, I feel like it was Rick Applegate used to be pretty dominant in that division. And
yeah, it was one. I don't remember which one of them it was that we was at North Vernon one night, and it was actually the what do they call that, the fest at the end of the year.
You're
Fun Fest.
Fun Fest.
Yeah, and one of them Applegate boys, I don't know which one it was, but anyway, one of them, I was on the high side coming around, and he I don't know if he got in some mud or I don't know what happened, but he come up and hit me.
Got a push and got into you.
He put me into the wall and ended up flipping the car.
I was actually on the track that night.
Yeah, so I flipped the car. And
I was coming off of turn 2, getting ready to come down the back stretch, and I could see a car was turned over, and at the time it was kind of hard. I mean, they just threw the red.
Yeah.
Of course, we didn't have
no receivers.
No receivers.
Yeah.
We didn't know who was who or
right.
But once I put 2 and 2 together, I was like, man, that's Dad. Hope he's all right.
Yeah.
Of course, you took out the fence.
Yeah.
And then we had to sit there forever, it seemed like, to clean up your mess.
Yeah. Yeah, well, what was crazy about it, because that was the first one I'd ever flipped, and I'm hanging in the car upside down, and I knew not to unbuckle.
Right.
Because you just don't know. I've seen too many guys running the last 3 cars come around and take, Dad got in a wreck. There'd be the last 3 guys that hit him,
Right.
So I knew not to unbuckle, but I'm hanging upside down thinking, man, how am I going to get out, because
at least we did.
Yeah, at least we did have the steering wheels that came off back then. You can pop the steering wheel off, but I was hanging upside down. I think the flagman was the first guy that got to me. And he looked in the car. He goes, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm just waiting to try to figure it out, make sure everybody stopped." He goes, "Yeah, you're good." So I released that thing, and I fell and hit the top of the car. I was thinking, man, that was pretty stupid. But I got out
much option. Though.
But I had so much,
adrenaline.
The blood was just pumping, draining into my head. My eyes were getting bloodshot from hanging there, so long. But anyway, that was like on a Friday night, I think, when that happened, and then I stayed and worked on the car all night, and I had guys bring me parts over to rebuild the car, and got the car going, and of course, the engine was getting the oil in the carburetor because it's hanging upside down, and in the cylinder wells and stuff. But anyway, we ended up having a good weekend after that anyway. But yeah, that car, it went through a lot. That number 5 car did. So
whenever you guys wrapped up that season with the Southerns, and that was
that was Smokey Joe Gotti was building bent chassis back then, and he contacted me and wanted to know if I'd drive his house car, and I said, "Oh man, I guarantee it. I'd be excited about that. So we made a deal, and Tony, my older brother, and Mike Stone, they was over there, putting the chassis together, and went over there and got us a car, and I think Joe, he might have built me 2, throughout the year. I can't remember, but anyway, started driving for Joe, and Tony, he's just so good at that stuff, and setting up cars and stuff, had a pretty good piece, and drove Joe all the way up to 2003, where we decided that in 2003 that we was going to start running at Thunder Valley. Brownstown and Thunder Valley ran on the same night, on Saturday night. But Don and Mason Fleetwood was running. They was promoters at Thunder Valley down there.
Right.
So I used to race against them guys, and they was always real good to me, and always got along good with them. Great guys. So I said, I'm gonna support them. I'm gonna start running at their track. Mm-hmm. And we ended up running 14 races that year. I won 12 of them. They ended up putting a bounty on me, and we ended up
second once.
I run 14 times and won 12. Ran second and won, and the other one was a DNF. Got a tire cut down. I couldn't finish the race. So
right.
I remember well because we was over there one night and got rained out, and it was early. And New Brownstown was running, so I thought, man, maybe we can try to make it over there, So I called Brownstown. They said, yeah, we're under rain delay. So I thought, well, they're not rained out. They're just under delay. So loaded everything up, headed over there. They told me that, they said, well, you have to start on the tail of the heat, because you wasn't here in time to draw. I said, that's fine. And, back then, you had 60 cars that show up, in a night to run. So, yeah, I knew it was going to be a challenge, especially, with Steve there and Bubba and, them guys. So, I started on the tail of the heat. Once I got the track lined out and started running, which was good for me because the track was heavy. And, I like a heavy track, so... I don't even remember where I finished in the heat race. But anyway, come feature time, me and Steve's battling out for the win. It's pretty cool. So going into 3, I'm on the high side, he's on the low side, and I thought, man, I'm just going to drive it in there and I'll either run off the track or it'll stick, and it stuck. The son of a gun stuck, and I come off the corner, and I don't know how far I beat him by, but it wasn't much.
Right.
And that you don't know, from the angle that they're going to see you, because you never know. So I didn't even know I'd won. I got over to the scales, because you had to run across the scales, and I pulled up there, and they was giving me the thumbs up, and I took my helmet off. I said, well, who won? They said, well, you won. I thought, oh, man, this is cool, So I went out on the track and got my trophy, and it was pretty. I think Steve's car was out there. I can't park. I think his car. I think he come out, or I think we got our picture taken together on the front stretch. Right,
it was first and second place.
Yeah, it was about like that time whenever another kid did that to me. I was leading the feature and thought I had the race won, and I was catfishing down there along the bottom, and, I thought, well, I'm doing good. And then all of a sudden I see this darn fender, on the outside of me, sticking his nose up there. I thought, man, who is this squirrel, And then you ended up passing me and winning the race. So we finished first that night, That was pretty cool, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'll definitely always remember that.
Yeah, when we had some good times, we had some bad times, and
that's kind of, racing, you get that.
Yeah. About like the time that the car come off the trailer, and went through, hit the church. Yeah. But it's a good thing it didn't happen out on the interstate, because we'd just been running 70 mile an hour down the highway, and
yeah,
man, if it had come on, I was already sick to my stomach whenever it happened, because just knowing what could have happened. And I swore after that I'd never run another open trailer again. I always have an enclosed trailer. That way I could just beat the crap out of the inside of the trailer instead of the open, coming off the trailer.
Unfortunately, it happens to them guys too.
Yeah, but, back in the day, see, I should have known better, because back in the day, whenever we boomed Dad's cars down, we had a boomer and chain back then. Wasn't no straps.
Yeah.
And Dad would always take a short chain,
chain the car,
as a safety chain that he'd put on there, and And now, that's why.
Yeah.
Because that right there, 'cause you never know.
Mm-hmm.
You never know when something could happen, but at least that would keep the car on the trailer.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was a fast modified after that.
Yeah.
You know? I remember that.
Yeah.
It bent something just right to make that thing. I'm telling you, it was easy to drive after that.
Yeah. But going back to the Thunder Valley deal, we ended up winning. We won the point championship that year at Thunder Valley.
Mm-hmm.
Also got I got the sportsmanship award that year there, which was pretty cool.
Well, yeah.
Anytime you get one of them. And also that was my last feature that I won was at that track, and that was whenever you had Bracy, and he was just a little bitty fella.
Little bitty kid.
You bring him out there and set him,
baby.
Yeah, set him on the hood of the car, and we got our picture taken with him. And man, I never did get that picture. I don't know if
whoever the photographer was, just
I never got it because it was the last race, and it was like
I can go back the next year,
right?
Nothing like that.
Yeah. So I wish I had that picture. It would have been cool, but I missed out on it. So I don't know. Maybe one day,
maybe it'll surface.
Yeah.
Never know. Well, so do you have anybody you'd like to give any thanks to?
There's so many people out there that helped me over the years. I don't want to start naming because I know I'd miss somebody and don't want to make anybody mad.
I understand.
But I do want to thank mom and dad. Throughout the years is raised me right, and hope that I do them proud. But I also want to say thanks to my wife and you and Bethany, my kids, because you guys had to put up with a lot of crap throughout the years. Me getting home from work, going out in the garage and staying till 11 or 12 at night every night. I know whenever you start racing, I'd go in there and make you get out of bed. You go out in the garage. I said, boy, them features are one in the garage and not in that bed. Dad, leave me alone, let me sleep.
Right.
It's like, well, if we're going to win, you got to get your butt out of bed.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, but when you're 12, 13, 14, 15, you'd rather sleep in.
Yeah.
Somebody else get it ready.
Right, yeah.
It wasn't the case.
Right. But if I started naming people, I'd know I'd miss somebody, so I'm just let it go.
Right.
I mean, Kobe and Carol Southern was real good to me throughout the years. Brad Enders,
Yeah.
And there's just so many other people.
I know.
It's just
long list.
Yeah.
So
before we take off though, I want to give you a little parting gift,
what you got there?
for inviting me. It's not. It looks like dynamite, but it's not dynamite. I mean, it ain't gonna blow you up or nothing.
Burn.
It might set you on fire, but it ain't gonna blow up on you.
Hey, that ain't bad.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the invite.
Well, yeah.
Had a good time.
Well, I'm glad. It's always a good time to sit down and talk about dirt racing.
Yeah. I was real nervous about this deal. I didn't, it was like.
Hey, you didn't really. You about like Grandpa didn't really want to come on.
No. I
twisted that arm just right.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think anybody would want to hear my story. It's like I'm just an old washed up old bomber driver.
Oh, that ain't the way it
But
is.
at least in '99 or something, whatever, I did get a chance to wheel a late model.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it happened. I don't know if Dad contacted Masterbuilt. Masterbuilt gave us a late model chassis.
Mm-hmm.
We got the car together, and I had the opportunity to race a late model down at we took it to World 100. Yeah, I'm running down, run over there and
had a good time with it.
Yeah, it
was a sharp car.
Yeah, John Finn built an engine for it, and it was a good. I mean, I got to race with C.J. Rayburn, Steve Barnett, Kevin Claycomb, all the big dogs. I got an opportunity to run with them, and I was very, very happy about that.
Right.
Yeah. And it was good to know that I could drive one.
Right.
That's
because
you don't know. you don't know if you could drive
It's
one.
easy to sit in the stands and think you can drive anything.
Yeah. And,
So you
and,
get in
and
that seat.
yeah, and in my mind, I still can. You know, I don't know if I can, but in my mind, I can still drive.
Well, maybe we'll find out later this season.
It's a possibility. Yeah.
Well, again, appreciate you
Yep.
coming on the show this evening.
Yeah.
And appreciate everything you've done for me.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
I'm going to wrap up here. We appreciate everybody tuning in tonight for another episode of Off the Track. If you have not already, please be sure and like us on Facebook. You can check us out at bluechiptech.net. And be sure and tune in next week for another episode. We appreciate everybody watching. And if there's anything we can do to help you out on the track, just give us a call at 812-807-7050 for all your engine needs. Thank you and have a great